When neo-Nazis rallied in Lincoln Heights, Ohio, armed black residents hit the streets to protect their own. So why don't we see the same attitude when it comes to threats within our own community? What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. If this is your first time at the channel, just know I greatly appreciate you. Why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe? We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we are taking it the humble route. So today we're diving into something that's been happening over the last month. Essentially, there's news out of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. If you haven't heard, it's a majority black town. Their civilians have started to form armed patrol guards after neo-Nazis rode up literally last month with rifles, swastikas, racial slurs, the whole 9 yards. It's 2025 and we're still dealing with stuff like this. But here's the thing. I'm not here to just react and give you my commentary about it. I want to really unpack this. I want to be fair, and I want to ask some tough questions. Free speech, self-defense, community priorities. This is bigger than just one town. Grab a snack, hit the like button. Let's see how we can get into this. So let's set the scene, right? Lincoln Heights, Ohio, a historic black community, the first self-governing black town north of the Mason-Dixon line. So essentially on February 7th, neo-Nazis showed up on a highway overpass near the town, waving swastikas, flags, shouting all sorts of slurs at people. Some of them were armed, some of them were unarmed, and the cops were there, but no arrests were really made. Why? Because under Ohio law, open carry is legal, and technically their hate speech didn't cross into enticing violence, at least not in the way that law could touch. So why don't we go ahead and watch the video.
In Ohio, which is now the center of a growing national debate about civil rights, hate speech, and the Second Amendment. NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford visited the town of Lincoln Heights, where residents have formed an armed community defense group in the wake of a neo-Nazi rally. Morgan joins us now. You were there just on Tuesday. What did the residents tell you about what's going on?
Yeah, I was there just this week. John, it was fascinating because what's interesting is that this town was founded during the Great Migration back in the 20s as a refuge for Black citizens, which is why it was especially painful when neo-Nazis suddenly appeared in this 3,000-person majority Black town. But they decided to fight back, taking up arms and patrolling their own streets. Now they're at the center of a much larger debate about protection and free speech and who gets it.
These aren't police officers or soldiers.
They're business owners, fathers, their sons, daughters.
These are civilians, members of the Lincoln Heights Safety and Watch program.
It's a duty. Okay, let's go.
The duty, protecting their neighborhood, the majority Black village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas.
That's crazy, right? 2025, right?
And hurling racial slurs just moments before children were let out of school. At the time, law enforcement officials said the neo-Nazis did not break any laws, but an investigation by county prosecutors is ongoing. Weeks later, the KKK came with these flyers.
First African-American community above the Mason-Dixon line of staff.
Safety and Watch Group spokesperson Durrance Daniels says the police did not do enough, which was more chilling because the town was founded in the 1920s as a safe haven for Black residents.
Lincoln Heights is our home. If somebody broke into your home, you call the police, and the police says, if they do it again, we haven't broken any law, so we're just going to allow them to break into your home again. What would you do?
Are you worried at all that having a potentially armed response could just create more friction, create more danger?
I'll answer that by saying I've never felt safer as a Black man in my community than I have right now.
The mayor of Evendale, which oversees the police force that responded that day, said in a statement to NBC News, "Our emphasis on de-escalation and public safety resulted in the incident's resolution without injuries to any of the persons involved." But residents here say they can't afford to wait. Every day, the Safety and Watch Group escorts children to school and patrols the streets.
Why do you all wear masks?
Those Nazis, we have reports of them finding our backgrounds, so we're not hiding ourselves from the residents, but we're protecting our family from what we're doing out here.
While many locals do support the security group, some, like business owner Eric Ruffin, say they wish the group wasn't needed.
We don't want to become what we hate. You know, we don't want to become a group of people that walk around feeling like we have a reason in America to have to protect ourselves.
And this community
Stand up.
Stand up.
is
You're
not
alone.
backing
Sending
down.
their message.
We contacted the mayor of Evendale's office, and they say that prosecutors are looking at body camera footage of the neo-Nazi rally to see if any criminal charges could be filed. But meantime, the Hamilton County Sheriff is also calling on state lawmakers to.
Okay, so I'm gonna link this article or this video into the description, right? So obviously, you see that type of rally, swastikas, you got kids coming off of school buses when this is happening. If you just imagine it, that's a pretty wild type of thought. So the community responds. And they said, they formed the Lincoln Heights Safety and Watch program. You got armed volunteers, they're masked up, they're patrolling the streets, guarding bus stops and different things like that. And they're out there every day, saying, not on our watch. And honestly, I get it and I totally understand. If you feel threatened, you protect your own. That's human nature. But now we have to pivot to the whole thing about free speech, right? Because this is where it gets tricky. The neo-Nazis obviously is disgusting. Their message is trash, spewing nothing but pure hate. But here's the deal. The First Amendment protects it. As long as they're not breaking any laws, like physically attacking anybody or directly calling for violence, they've got the right to stand there and spit and spew out whatever garbage they feel they need to. The same way you or I can stand on the corner and say what we think. So it's not really necessarily about agreeing with them. It's about the principle. And on the flip side, the people from Lincoln Heights, Ohio's an open carry state. They're not breaking laws either. So they're exercising their rights to bear arms and protect their community. So legally, both sides are technically within bounds. That's the messy beauty part. That's the messy beauty of America. Everybody gets their say and everybody gets their shot at self-defense. That's why the First Amendment is free speech and the second one is the freedom to bear arms. But here's where I start asking questions, and I need you to hear me out, right? Why is it that neo-Nazis show up? Whoever, it could be white people, could have been Hispanic people, whoever was under those masks, whatever, right? They show up with signs, rifles, and then we have Lincoln Heights mobilizing like this, right? Obviously, we heard the backstory, the history. Obviously, there's some real history in this town. But, we saw how the community was able to mobilize. They had their masks on, their guns out, they had checkpoints up, protecting the children. And I'm in no way, shape, or form am I mad at it, because I have a son, and if I hear of any clowns or any sort of people walking around with swastikas and near my house or whatever, I'd be out there too. They got every right to feel threatened and respond. But, and I know this might get controversial, right? But why don't we see the same energy when it's the people who mess up the community, right? The drug dealers or the gangs or the robbers or killers who take lives within our own neighborhoods. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all. Some communities obviously do fight back. But personally, I've never seen it on this level. Not this organized, not this public. Why is it that when white people show up with hate, we're ready to suit up and drive them out? But when it's our own people who are doing damage, we stay quiet. Is it fear? Is it because we don't want to call out our own? Or is it just easier to rally against a quote unquote outside enemy? And I'm not judging. I'm just asking, because if we're really serious about protecting the children, shouldn't that energy be consistent? And where I land, obviously it might be controversial, but I'm just trying to keep it real. I believe Lincoln Heights has every right to arm themselves and patrol their neighborhood and their town. If they're not breaking laws and they're keeping the children safe, all power to them. Constitutional rights don't care literally about your skin color. And the same technically goes for the neo-Nazis. You can hate them or not. If they're not crossing any legal lines, you can't lock them up. And that's the deal. But what kind of irritates me is the disconnect. We'll mask up, lock and load, get the guns out, and stand tall against, white people or whatever with signs. But when it's black on black crime tearing up our own streets, where is that same attitude? And I'm not saying they're wrong to react here, but I'm saying why stop here? You feel me? If we're about community, let's be about it all the way. Because the drug dealers, they don't care about our children either. The gangs, they don't care about, your elder parents, the grandparents, they don't care. So why is it only a problem when the threat has a swastika, right? Or am I missing something? But that's honestly my take. Lincoln Heights, I'm glad they're, suiting up and trying to keep their community safe to the best of their ability. But this is a conversation that we need to have. Free speech is obviously real, self-defense is real, but so is accountability. I'm proud of them for standing up, but I'm also challenging us, myself included, to think bigger. Why do we have to move like this? What's holding us back from taking that same energy everywhere where it's needed? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. I want to hear from you. Do you guys think the Lincoln Heights Safety Watch, do you think they're doing the right thing? Or am I off? You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. If you like this video, smash the like button, hit the bell notification so you get notified about all my videos, and hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we're all taking the humble road. And never, ever forget, it's you and I verse, information, application, execution. Until next time, peace.